Hey, you!
Me?
Yes, you. You look like you're trying to get ready for Monster Hunter Wilds, which is just about 4 months out, aren't you?
I guess. I mean, I am excited for it.
Well, don't you worry. I have all the things that you need to know for coming out from Monster Hunter Wilds.
Listen, bud, I think I can handle this from here.
Well, if you say so, I hope you're ready to give all the ways to prepare yourselves now for Monster Hunter Wilds.
With Monster Hunter Wilds coming out in about for a little over 4 months at this point, I thought I'd just give you just a few words of advice on like how you can prepare for it. Obviously, there could be the thing of like getting a PS5 Pro, getting a better PC rig, making sure your controllers are all working, all the physical things, you know, you can always check that are just going to be normal things. So I'm not one to make lists, but these are going to be kind of listed off. It's not going to be something that's set in stone and how you feel like this needs to be done. Just kind of like general ideas on how you might want to be able to do certain things. You know, for instance, just start watching videos about Wilds. Getting information early can be a big deal. You can make plans, see what monsters there are, and kind of get an idea of what their abilities might be, or maybe not so much that, but you might be able to understand what sort of armor and equipment these monsters might be bringing in the next generation. You know, if you see a Nargacuga, you know it's going to have some evading portions to it, and that normally tends to be a good set. But who knows what monsters are in the game right now. They've only shown what I believe to be a fraction of the entire monsters that will be in the game. So watching videos, getting news, you're not going to get the news here. I'm sorry, you're not going to see any news here. But there are multiple other outlets that will give you news and give you information so that you can prepare yourself in Wilds by understanding what monsters are going to look like and do. You can see something enough and say, yes, this one attack that I've seen in all the commercials, they dodge right, so I can dodge right when the game comes out. It's a small thing, but it can add up to making a fight just a tad bit easier. Two that I want to lump in together are, well, just playing World or Rise. Trying to remember how the gameplay feels, how it controls, how's that. You don't have to play through it a bunch, but every now and then just kind of pop on, do a few hunts. Just kind of get yourself a feel for the controllers, or I guess the controls again, and how the controller feels in your hand. You might have been playing something completely different. Like me, playing old school RuneScape for the past couple months. Don't ask too many questions about that. I'm gonna have to relearn how to play it on controller, and also while you're doing that, if you have enough time, maybe try learning a new weapon. That's gonna be a very important part of this new game. You're going to have 2 weapons. Yeah, you could be a double greatsword user, and if that's fine, then well, there you go. But if you're having a new weapon entirely, like myself, I main dual blades, I'm going to want to also have a heavy bowgun. That's what I've decided, dual blades, heavy bowgun. So I've decided that that's what my goal is. But I haven't done heavy bowgun nearly as much as dual blades, so I'm gonna start learning how to use the heavy bowgun again. Understanding how the other weapons work now, if you don't have normally a backup weapon, trying to figure out what your new backup weapon will be is going to be possibly very important to the new series. And albeit you can normally learn these weapons at the end game, you could just make the best gear and make it and go on hunts and kind of get used to it. If you're not too familiar with the weapons, that's probably a good start. But one of the big things that you're going to have to realize is when the game comes out, you're going to be trying to fight monsters that are not just going to be pushovers. Not saying that, you know, the fights aren't going to be pushovers at time or not difficult. There will be challenging monsters, obviously, and some non-challenging monsters, but having to start a new game and level up 2 weapons at the same time, it's going to be a challenge. You're not going to really know, no one currently knows how the leveling system of the weapons is going to be. And maybe you're like myself. I've mained dual blades in Worlds, and I've played dual blades in Rise. But I've never leveled up different weapons. I pretty much mained dual blades and didn't understand what it's like to level up with a new weapon. having something like starting a heavy bowgun from scratch really does change how the game will feel. As a dual blade user, you're looking for very specific things, typically just attack upgrades, defense upgrades, and dash douche, which you can't really get except for monsters, but that's besides the point. A heavy bowgun, they want a lot of nuts. They want a lot of different types of nuts and just different types of things to be able to create different ammo, because that's what they do. Understanding and kind of getting a feel of how your hunts will go and what you need to do and need to grab is kind of important. Understanding that how these certain types of equipments work, you know, there's still a lot of things up in the air, but understanding kind of what you want to do in Wilds can help you make it easier to make decisions. And going back to how I am trying to do dual blades and heavy bowgun, I have a few reasons for that. Just personally, you know, having one melee weapon, I want another ranged weapon. And there's still a lot of things up in the air of how, you know, having two weapons on your secret is going to even work. It could be that maybe you can't really mix and match sets that well, meaning like how a lot of times heavy bowgun has a lot of guard. They like to have a guard, and something like dual blades wants no guard. They want no block. They want evade. So I might have to learn light bowgun, which, you know, is something that I'm fine with doing. It's somewhat of the same thing as heavy bowgun, but going from a blocking set to a evade set is something to note. I just really wanted a melee and a ranged weapon, and I also like heavy bowgun. So being able to have two different types of things ready can be something that's beneficial. Having a ranged weapon and a melee weapon, it tends to be something that's just probably is going to be able to be more on the fly with hunts, especially with how the world is open. Because I know if I have to fight Kushala Daora, I'm not using dual blades. The wind is something that I don't want to deal with, and I'm going to be using something at range so that I can shoot it from afar, from a safe distance. So one last thing that I feel like I need to talk about, talking about on things that you should get ready for. I feel like I need to preemptively bring up some things that feel like are going to be very important additions to Wilds. See, something that Wilds seems to be using a lot of is from the Guiding Lands, from World, where you would just go in, fight monsters, and continue bringing out monsters. New monsters come in, and they'll just keep coming and going, coming and going, coming and going. And one of the things that they would have you do typically is that something when you're in an area that isn't on that 50-minute timer that you can stay forever, your stamina will begin to deplete. And I feel like this is very important to understand why that is such an important thing in the game. Your stamina depleting is bad. Any game, it's bad. You want to normally have the maximum amount of stamina and health that you can have. And, well, something that was in World was you would get rations. You'd get so many free rations. It was so easy to just, it's down, let me pop a ration. Well done steaks were not a way or a reason to even bring anything in. But with Wilds, they're going to make well done steaks pretty good. It's come out that well done steaks are going to fully restore your stamina as well as restore your health. This might not be good in combat, but when these seemingly hunts or adventures that you're going to be taking are going to take many, many hours without actually going to camp and getting, you know, something cooked up by one of the chefs. You're just out there in the field for a while, and sometimes you just need to eat one of those well done steaks. So, with that, you can prepare by just practicing making well done steaks. Now, I know they've changed it. It's a different thing. You know, it's more like, oh yeah, instead now it's more about cutting the steaks. But getting used to some of the timings, quick time events, is going to be important. It's going to be important to be able to make well done steaks as often as possible, or at least get as much as you can every time you do it. I played Hollow Cure, and it was just, I could not do the rhythm game. I could not do it. I was trash at it. I could not figure out a way. Or it was the fishing rhythm game, and I couldn't deal with it. So, making some meat, making it, so tasty. It's gonna be important for
being able to play the game well. You're going to want to be able to have as many of those well done steaks as possible, because it seems like you're going to be needing a lot of them for now. And it's also just beneficial, because after you do a bunch of hunts and go back, it also heals your HP, which is just a nice addition to it. I don't think it raises your max HP, but it raises your max stamina again, bringing it back to full. And considering, you know, the emphasis of how Wild seems to be about the world and the environment and things that can happen, making sure that you can make steaks well, I think is going to be important too. Just get used to making some of those well done steaks. I'm not certain which game would be the best, but hey, they all have some tasty steaks. Alright, that's all I got for this video. I'm still getting used to this, trying to just do whatever I can, just whenever I have an idea. This isn't something that I'm trying to take super seriously right now. Just, hey, let's pop up a video. I really like Monster Hunter Wilds. I'm gonna do another video about it, except I have no footage from it because I don't go to events that much. So I'm just sitting here just being like, oh, you know, I'll do a little things here and there. But I'll also probably try streaming at some point. I don't have any promises on when I can do that. You know, if you follow me on Twitter or Twitch, you'll see me eventually on there. I think my main goal before Wilds comes out is to finish my current heavy bowgun run. I'm working my way towards Xeno'jiiva right now on the heavy bowgun run, if you know where that is in World. So I plan on doing it at some point. I have a few VODs available to put up if that's something that's people like. You know, if you got made this far, thanks for watching. Let me know if this is like things that you didn't think of to think about before Wilds come out, or you know, if you just want to talk about Wilds more, because I'm always game for talking about more Wilds. Anyways, I hope you all had a wonderful time watching it, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you. Have a good one.